Hey everyone. So I'm doing a very short Facebook Live to introduce holistic practitioners to something called German New Medicine. So as people start coming in, just let me know, where are you from? What's your name? Where are you from? And if you've ever heard of German New Medicine before, because I'd love to hear that. And where did you learn it or learn of it? That would be awesome. So I'm going to start by giving you a little bit of information here. Um, After you let me know who you are, I want you also to let me know, what is the biggest challenge you have in your practice. First, what kind of practice do you have? And then what kind of challenges do you have in it? What are the most toughest things that you deal with? And coronavirus and all of that aside, okay, we're not talking about that. And people are asking, how do I listen to the live broadcast? I'm not familiar with Facebook either, so this is the blind leading the blind. Jenny, if you're on, can you respond to Jennifer Lee and let her know how she can watch this? That would be awesome. And Dr. CJ Varji, wonderful to have you here. This is great. Thanks for being here. So let me know what your modality is and what are the greatest challenges that you have in your practice, because that's really what we're going to address, is what are the pain points that you have in your practice. I have been a holistic practitioner and a traditional naturopath for about 20 years. And it was in 2009 that I learned German New Medicine, and it totally changed my world. And it changes everyone's world who learns it. So, hi, I see some familiar names coming on here. This is great. It's wonderful to see you. This is kind of weird. I'm so used to Zoom where I see people live, and it's like, I don't see anybody live. I see myself on a time delay. So I'm trying to get this all figured out. Anyway, I'm glad you're here and welcome. And I see Amy's here as well. And okay, so what kind of practitioner are you? What are your most challenging things that you do, that you have in your practice? Because that's what we will address today. And if you can let me know that, that would really help me to know how to share this information with you right now. So I will say that German New Medicine is not a modality. It is a scientifically proven system. It was 5 biological laws discovered by a physician 35 years ago. And so it's not a modality. It's not acupuncture. It's not herbalism. It's not anything that you do per se. It is a new definition of physiology. It's a new definition of pathology as well. It's a new understanding of all of it. So it's an entirely new perspective. And hey, Amy, I see you here as well. This is great. And Etta and Alicia, awesome. This is great. So this works, German New Medicine works with every kind of modality out there, because it gives you an entirely new perspective of what's going on in somebody's body and why. And so I'm bringing over a PowerPoint. At some point, maybe I'll figure out how to share my PowerPoint on Facebook, because it looks like I can, but I'm not quite there yet. So that's the wrong PowerPoint. Let me bring over the right one. Man, this is different than Zoom. I will say that much. All right, so is this a good fit for your practice? And so the benefits of knowing GNM, let's go there. What are the benefits? The benefits are that you would know all the causes of every disease that your clients walk into your office with. You would know what the cause was, how it began, how it started, how the natural progression of it exists, what the natural progression is, and how it naturally resolves itself. Let me know if that is good information for you. So let's say somebody comes in and they have let's say they have a gallbladder issue. Would it be helpful for you to know exactly how and why this started, what the natural progression of this whole program is? I'm going to call it a program. Others call it a symptom or a disease. I'm going to call it a program. And then how it would resolve. If that's helpful, let me know in the comments below. So it helps you to be more effective with your own modalities. And I find this a lot, that practitioners can help a lot of people, but then there's some people that they just get stuck with, that they don't know what else to do. They've tried everything in their repertoire and the person's not getting well. And I had that myself, which is why I kept learning new information. Okay, I can't help this person. What do I need to learn in order to help them? And once you learn German New Medicine, you have all the information that you need to help everyone to a great degree. All right, you've got a whole different tool in your toolbox. So you become more effective with your modalities. So I used homeopathy. Once I knew GNM, I could use homeopathy differently. So my clients, it was more effective with my clients. I'm an herbalist. I use the herbs differently because of the 2 phases Dr. Hammer discovered. And that was helpful for me to be able to be more effective. In talking with my clients, I was able to be more effective because I knew exactly what was going on in their body and why. And once they understood that, they were then empowered, which is amazing information to have. So clients tend to have better results quicker. And that's the real value of German New Medicine. People are more empowered in their health for their entire lives. GNM isn't just for one symptom that they're having now. Once clients understand German New Medicine, they use it forever. That is true empowerment. That is what's awesome about it. So like I said, it's useful for all modalities, no matter what they are. And if any of you are practitioners, go ahead and write into the comments where you're from and what do you do? What is your expertise? What are the modalities you use? Because I could address those. What Dr. Hammer discovered is that there are 2 phases to this whole process of what we call disease. And we treat each phase very differently. And that's really important. So that's where that piece of information is missing from all modalities. And that's a really key piece. So the 2 phases are being conflict active when you're sympathetic dominant, and in the healing phase when you're parasympathetic dominant. And the nervous system reacts very differently in each. Well, any modality you have will be more effective in one or the other, or for different reasons, using them in one phase versus another. And so you're able to help to minimize discomfort in clients as well, once you understand what's going on in the body and why. That's helpful because people often have pain and that's not comfortable. And so what I do is teach people a technique that can get their pain levels down very quickly. And that's all part of German New Medicine. So it's awesome. Now, a lot of clients come to us as holistic practitioners because they have chronic issues that they've tried all the drugs out there and that those didn't work. They've tried many different modalities and they've maybe helped to a degree, and then they don't help after a while. And they're stuck. They're like, I don't know what else to do. And then they find German New Medicine, or they find you as a GNM practitioner and they come to you. And you're able to give them insights into why this happened and why it's chronic, because that's very different than a single program that's running, such as like the common cold is one program. Once that finishes, we're done, versus an allergy that continues, Parkinson's, muscle tremors that are just continuing, arthritis, any sort of ALS, MS, anything that's chronic in the body, a skin rash that won't go away even. When you have chronic conditions and you know GNM, you know how to address it differently with the person. It isn't about getting rid of the symptoms. The symptoms are our clue as far as what's going on in the body and why. So we want to work with the symptoms, and when you know GNM, you can help them to downgrade their tracks, the thing that keeps this chronic in their life. And that's valuable because that gets people out of the pain and discomfort that they often experience on a daily basis. So, do anybody have any questions? If so, put them right in the comments. That would be awesome. So the benefits of knowing GNM as a practitioner are that it's a scientifically accurate system. It takes the guesswork out of this whole process of helping our clients, and it helps you to pinpoint exactly what needs to happen when for that client, which is awesome. That's what we want to be able to do. We're more accurate. We're able to empower them more. We will have more knowledge. You'll have more knowledge and greater insights to help them using all of the modalities that you use differently. And what I find is that people start to spread the word. When you start to have information that no one else has, people are really grateful and they start spreading the word. And so your practice grows and grows, which is incredibly helpful, especially in this day and age. And at this point, it's really easy, I'm going to say, to do German New Medicine virtually. Most of my clients that I have, I do virtually. I see rarely do I see someone in person. So it can be done virtually. And right now, that's helpful for so many people around the world. I offer a program. I offer 2 programs, but my GNM for Practitioners program is the one I'm talking about today because there's no other program like it literally in the world. I will say that, and especially not in English. And what it consists of is my basic program called Beyond Holistic Medicine, which teaches you GNM, all the basics that you would need to know. And that is a course that you can do on your own. And you can join in on my weekly teleconferences, which are live. And that's great because I'm able to answer your questions. So the course itself is about 2.5 hours of video and 8 activity sheets that help you to relate the information you're learning to your own symptoms. So you can start using them right away, using this knowledge right away for your own health or the health of your family. That's the first part. And if you're an experienced practitioner, you know anatomy and physiology, you could probably pick that up fairly quickly in a week or 2. Other folks, it takes longer because it is an entirely new paradigm shift. And so that helps. It helps to have support to wrap your head around how to change the paradigm in your head of health and disease. And that can take months to really wrap your head around. So I tell people, give yourself time to do that course. At least 1 or 2 months is great. And then for the practitioner part, the second part of GNM for Practitioners is it's live sessions that we do together. They're about 2 hours each. And there's 4 live sessions. And in between that is homework, assignments to do. That's building your knowledge of GNM, and it's also giving you the practical application. So you're building all the things, the tools that you will need to work with clients, templates, forms, intake forms, and more. So I lay it all out, step 1, step 2, step 3 on working with clients. So the 2 courses are together in the one course I call GNM for Practitioners. And the first part, you do it yourself. It's asynchronous. You have access to the whole course at once. The second one, we are on live with each other. And those are pretty amazing sessions to have. And I'm working with you live. And so I'm answering questions in live time as well. And like I said, there's several hours of assignments to do between our live sessions because you're building your whole library of how to use, of all the tools you need to use GNM. So anybody have any questions? What time is it? It's about 1:15. And I see there's comments here. Let me take a look. Yep, I see a few comments. That's great. It's great to see you all. Thanks for being here. This is awesome. And I don't think I'm still live, but let me check. So if anybody has any questions, yeah, definitely go ahead and put your questions down in the comments. Have I given you enough information? What else do you need to know to understand German New Medicine for your own practice? And while I'm waiting for all those questions to come in, I'm going to mention what this did for myself. Enough information. What else do you? Oh, okay. So like I said, I'm a traditional naturopath, and I had a wellness center in Maine that I had for a number of years. And I did herbal, I had a full herbal apothecary. I had colon hydrotherapy. So I was board certified in colon hydrotherapy. I used homeopathics for hormone rejuvenation. And I did a lot with nutrition. So I combined all of these modalities together. And once I learned German New Medicine, I still used all of these modalities, but I used them differently. And like I explained earlier, there's two phases. So using some of the modalities are more, they fit more in the first phase versus the second phase, and vice versa. So that's how you learn to be more effective. But I also had to change my mindset. I had a room in my wellness center called the Rejuvenation Room, and people would book it by like an hour, and they would come in and do several sessions of all the modalities I had in there, all the fun toys I had. I had a chi machine. I had a far infrared sauna in there. I had the ionic foot detox. I had something called an e-power, an electro-reflex energizer that worked on the feet. So I had all these modalities, and I had a certain mindset of what these were doing in in the bodies of my clients. Colon hydrotherapy. In my mind at that point, I was believing that if we can clean the colon out, we can help to prevent cancer. Same thing with nutrition. I thought, well, these diets will make you healthy, and these kinds of diets are not. What's the best diet I can create for this person because of their special needs and where they're at? So then I realized, when you really think about it, how many people do you know who are 85 years old and they smoke cigars every day or a pipe, and they drink whiskey every day, and they live on white bread and Spam, and they're going strong, right? And that makes no sense. It defies all logic of what we think it is to be healthy. So, and then I look at people who would come into my office. I had a 34-year-old woman with 2 young children, and she had been diagnosed with cancer, and she was very, very sick. And it was just heartbreaking. And she was healthy, she seemingly healthy. How could she get cancer when she's got a beautiful family, supportive family, beautiful community, a strong faith, and she had cancer? So something doesn't add up with what we've always been led to believe is true as far as health and disease. It doesn't add up. And once I learned German New Medicine, I totally understood why it doesn't add up. And this is where you have to revamp your entire perspective, because it's not about eating healthy. Eating healthy does not prevent conflict shocks, which is what every disease begins with. Disease, right? Every program begins with a conflict shock. Well, anyone can have those no matter what you're eating, no matter how much you're meditating. So great question, Amy. I love it. Oh, questions. Yay. Oh, good, Kathy. I'm so glad it answered questions. Even nutrition, why diets don't work. Diets don't prevent conflict shocks. What diets can do is they help you to stay strong and you have energy so you make it through the healing phase. So a diet of white bread and Spam, if you never have a conflict shock, you can be healthy as a horse. And yet if that person has a healing phase, they're not really supportive. So their body, their healing phase, their disease is going to be much more complicated. Yeah, so I know it's like we have to totally change of all the things we've learned. So what's the best approach for a psychotherapist to add GNM to their practice? I think my thought would be for a psychotherapist is to learn constellations, which is what Dr. Hammer discovered is what we call, mental illness or behavioral issues, mania, depression. Once a psychotherapist has a really good foundation of the physical part of it, then learning constellations is key for them, because within 5 minutes of somebody walking into their office, they'll be able to see right away, okay, they've got 3 constellations going all the time. And they would know how that impacts the body physically as well. And I don't know how much psychotherapists would get into the physical part. Maybe a psychiatrist would. But I just think, learning the constellations would be super, super helpful for any psychotherapists, social workers, personal therapists, counselors, and folks like that. So I hope that helps, Amy. And Gail, I see a message here. Example of 1 or 2 how GNM has transformed the lives of your clients versus other modalities you've used. Oh, wow. All right, here's an example. So I had a woman who came to me, and I'll say this, she came to me once I knew GNM. So I'll give you if I didn't know GNM, what I would have done and what I did because I knew GNM. And this is a woman who had a UTI, chronic UTIs for, 25 years, almost 30 years. And they had started in her 20s, and she was now in her 50s, early 50s. And she'd been on antibiotics so much over years and years, decades, that they no longer worked for her. She was resistant to all of them. Well, now we know why, for sure. But she could no longer have relations with her husband. So, shall we say, without having, triggering a, quote, UTI. And that was really tough. She had been married this whole time to a wonderful man, wonderful, loving man, wonderful marriage. So this was, obviously very disconcerting to her. She was very holistically minded, very spiritually minded. She was a therapist herself. And she had been to every practitioner out there. And, she had tried all the herbs. She had done the homeopathy. She had done all of it. And some of it worked for a short period of time. But then if she had relations with her husband again, all the symptoms would come back. So before knowing GNM, I would have done what any herbalist does. Well, okay, let's strengthen that system. Let's get the D-mannose in you. Let's do the herbs that are going to help the UTI, the ureter, the bladder, the urethra to all be healthier. Support it more. And let's see if we can, in the old mindset, get out any bacteria that are in there that are causing this, right? I'm going to have without GNM, I have a different mindset. So I'm thinking something's really wrong in there. Something's in there that shouldn't be there. Let's get it out. Let's get that bacteria out. And so I would go down that same route, try this, try this, try this. It would be supplement after supplement after supplement. All right, so I didn't do that with her since I knew GNM. And so we pinpointed, to have a UTI, that's the healing phase of a boundary issue, a territorial marking conflict. Territorial marking conflict, so boundaries. Somebody's coming into her boundaries or coming into her territory she doesn't want them to, or she wants someone to come in and they can't or won't. All right, in her case, what we figured out was that it was, I won't go into specifics here to keep anonymity, but we realized what the event was that happened years ago, many years ago, and the original event. And we also figured out what it was that was keeping her more conflict active, keeping it chronic. In other words, what kept triggering it. So we were able to figure those things out. Once she understood that, she understood why all these herbs and supplements didn't really work, because the core of it had not been addressed. So she put it all in perspective. For her, she did some spiritual work, some gratitude work. She had a whole new perspective on all of it, which shifted her mindset, which stopped the chronic issues. In about 2 months, it was about 8 weeks later, she felt strong enough in her soul, in her psyche, if you will, in this new belief system that she's just learned from me, that she thought, I think I can have relations with my husband again and not have get triggered. So she did, and she did not get triggered. And that was probably 5 years ago now. And she never, got triggered again. I think she might have once more, but it was several years later. She knew exactly what was going on and why. She downgraded it right away. It never went into a full UTI. So it was incredibly empowering for her. It was an amazing, amazing journey to watch this woman transform 25, 30 years of really uncomfortableness and discomfort into empowerment. So Gail, let me know if that helps, if that is helpful, if that was a good example for you. And let me see. Great. Oh, Kristen, nice. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, this is awesome. Let's see, looking through the comments. I think I've got them. Well, it says 12 comments and I only see 4. Facebook Live. Someday I will get this all figured out. 12 comments. Okay. Oh, good. Gail, I'm so glad that helped. Yeah, good. That's a good example, right? Because I certainly would have had an entirely different pathway I would have gone down with her. As an herbalist and nutritionist, we would have changed the diet, changed the food, changed the herbs, changed the supplements. And it's like, it's not about those things. Yes, I had her do a few things to support that part of her body because it had been weakened from all the antibiotics she'd been on. So I brought that information in to help strengthen her UTI, her ureter, her urethra, her bladder, just to strengthen them while she worked through it in her head. So when we work through it in our head at the psyche level, our belief system and our psyche level, the psyche, the brain, and the organ all work together. So if we're impacting one, we're impacting all of them. So if I'm going to work with someone who has a weakened part of their body, like this woman did, we're going to work it physically as well with the nutrition and things, but not because that's not healing her. The psyche drives the bus here. It's the psyche that has to be addressed in order for those supplements and things to help strengthen the body, to help them really be supportive, to really be effective, I guess is probably the best way to say that. So I hope that helps. And yeah, let's see. So anybody else have any other questions? This is great to see that you guys are all here. I really appreciate your being here. So I'm going to let you know that I'm starting a new GNM for Practitioners course now. Basically, you start with the first course, and then sorry, I'll come back to that. Gail, I just saw your comment. Yeah, the over supplementation thing, it's not about the supplements. A small amount can be supportive for a period of time, but I'm not a big one for long-term supplementation. Some folks, it can be really helpful for them, and other folks, for the most part, you don't need it. Dr. Hammer said 10% of people would need some sort of intervention, whether that's surgery or medicine, or in my mind, I don't go there since I'm not a surgeon or a doctor, but I would go to supplementation. So it's you can overdo supplements so easily, especially ones that are just synthetically made. I try to stay away from those because they're hard on the body. They're hard on the liver. And that's not a good thing. So definitely go with more different kind of supplements, ones that are more alive, more food-based, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I started to tell you about my course, and I have the next GNM for Practitioners basically starts now when you learn the first part, the basic part. And then come mid-May, we'll start the live 2-hour teleconferences. And so it's about 2 months, about a month and a half here to really learn German New Medicine and get it under your belt. So you're ready for the practitioner part of it, which is part 2. So I'm going to recommend you do that. I'm going to put here, I can do a comment, right? So I'm going to say, go in and look at what I have here. I will put a link right in here from my course, which is right here. And I'm going to put that right in. And that describes more about the course. So like I said, there's really no one doing this. This is really teaching you how to do GNM as a business and how to incorporate it into the modalities that you're currently using. And it's literally step 1, step 2, step 3. We build on it. Every one of those 4 courses, which are pretty intense, they build on each other. And I do record them, so if you miss one, you can still catch up, which is good. Oh, Kristen, I see your question. What's the best way to know if it's too much? I take handfuls of kelp right now to reset my something. I would say first I would say, do you see a difference with whatever you're taking? That would be the first clue. Is it working or isn't it working? And oftentimes you can see a difference within a few weeks. If you're really supporting the body and supporting the body part that has been impacted by what we know from a GNM perspective, then you should see a difference fairly quickly on whether that supplement is really supporting you in that moment. Let me know if that answers your question, Kristen. And Etta, I see you have, can you talk about the various conflict shocks and programs as a result of the COVID-19? What can we expect to see happening once this quarantine is ended and things are supposedly back to normal? Well, I haven't researched it in about 2 weeks, but when I researched Italy and what was happening there is people didn't go into their healing phase until quarantine started. So the quarantine helped them to resolve their issue, their conflict, so they could then go into the healing phase. So we see the big increase, which I imagine we'll see here. I think we already are in the US. As we get more and more restricted, people will feel safer because they think it's something they're catching. They'll feel safer and their nervous system will shift and they'll go into their healing phase. So we'll see that over the next few weeks. We'll see a big spike in the numbers here in the US because of the restrictions. That's my guess. Now let's keep checking and make sure I'm on the right track there. Because there's many different scenarios, different ways this can go, right? And then once we start seeing, once we get over that, so the healing phase is going to take several weeks. It'll probably take, a week or 2 to get into that healing phase once people are more quarantined, right? We just had here where I am in Western North Carolina, we have the next level of it going into effect at 5:00 tonight. So that means maybe over this next week, we're going to see more people resolve their conflicts, if they even have conflicts with it. And so that means in 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks, we're going to see a spike in the number of cases. I would expect to see that. And then that's just going to run its course, right? It takes a few weeks to heal. So let's say in 5 to 6, 7 weeks, we're going to see people are going up and then going down. As far as number of cases we have and the number of and then the people go into they resolve it, they go into healing, and we'll see the cases spike. That will simply run its course. When that's done, and then we start hearing from the government, oh, the numbers are going down, then people will start getting out of fear. The people who did not get people who didn't get, a healing phase, didn't get resolved then, maybe it wasn't a big conflict for them. I'm not going to have a healing phase. I have no conflicts with this at all. So for some folks, they're not going to see anything happening, right? And for other folks, I imagine it will happen more when the quarantine starts. So it will run its course And then we'll start hearing, okay, numbers are going down, people are going to resolve. And just, I think at that point, we're going to see a reduction, and then we're going to be back to normal. So I don't see anything huge happening after the quarantines are lifted. I think most people's programs will have finished by then because they think it's something coming into them, right? So they're going to resolve it when they feel safe, and they're going to feel safe when they're sitting at home and nobody's getting near them and breathing on them. So they're going to resolve it in the quarantine. Yeah, the quarantine, in some ways, do the quarantine now, get it over with, get them done so we can get through this. The other thing, let's think about it. What if they came out with a vaccine next week, right? A vaccine. And people are lined up to get their vaccine. They're going to resolve it instantly. Oh, I'm safe now. I can't get it. And of course, maybe then they'll have a small healing phase. But I mean, it's crazy, right? It's amazing. We'll have to see how this all plays out. So, yeah. Any other questions? I think we'll start to wrap it up. It's been great having you on, and this has been a wonderful first time experience for me doing Facebook Live. And I will certainly get it down pat the more that I do this. So I appreciate this. And thanks for being on for sure. Let me see if I've missed any other comments here. Yeah, let me know if you have any other questions. And loss of social life is a conflict. Does this mean I will experience a healing phase of some sort? Not necessarily. Just because you feel something doesn't mean you experienced a conflict shock with it, right? We're talking two different things. We all have normal emotions that are not part of a conflict shock. So those are two different things. The conflict shock is when something is unexpected, we can't prevent it, we can't predict it. We know that it's totally out of the blue, we can't prevent it at all. Versus, oh, the government's going to start cracking down on us. Well, we know that's coming. That's not a conflict shock. We can feel all kinds of emotions with it, but it doesn't mean it's a conflict shock. So what you want to be aware of in this time is, what do you feel? Because you can create your own conflict shock with this. If you get angry enough and frustrated enough with yourself about how you're feeling, I can't talk with my friends, then yeah, you're going to have much more apt to have a conflict shock with that than anything else, right? So really look at yourself now. If you think you might be conflict active, are your hands and feet cold? Are you obsessing about something? If you are, downgrade it. So you have just, your healing phase might be a sneeze instead of, the whole bronchial mucosa program. So just be aware that your emotions and your conflict shocks are two different things. That's why people always think that GNM is emotionally based. It is not. It is biology based. It's biological. Doesn't matter what your emotions are, because we all have emotions. It doesn't mean they are conflict shocks. That's different. All right. Good. I'm glad that was good for you. And so okay, you're upset about your social life. Then that's where you get creative. How can you be social with people in a different way? And that's where the solution comes in. That's how GNM empowers us. Be practical. Start getting on Zoom. Start getting, Zoom with people, or Facebook, Facebook. Yeah, Facebook Live with people. Do, FaceTime, right? Do all that type of thing. And so get social in a new way. What are they doing in Italy? They're singing from their balconies to each other at 9:00 all night. So organize your neighbors. Let's stand on our porches and sing to each other, right? This is where we have to be creative. So I agree with you, Amy. I wish it would be so much better if people really understood GNM. It would be less costly for all of us. We wouldn't all have to go through this isolation. And truly, I totally forget that we're in that, because I just live my normal life anyway. It's pretty funny. Yeah. But anyway, So we will wrap up, and yeah, we'll wrap up now. It's 12:41 here, and I hope this has been helpful. Hopefully I'll be able to do more of these as we move forward. And if you are a practitioner and are interested, please email me or at Calm Health or message me through Facebook. Get in touch with me through my website, which I have posted. And you are right, Gail. We are already safe. Absolutely. There's nothing to worry about. We are all fine. Nothing's trying to get us. So stay calm. Enjoy your time at home. Enjoy this opportunity to get home projects done. This is awesome. Awesome to do. So look at the good that's coming from this and how people are going to learn to connect in new ways, which is not a bad thing to know, to do. So, all right, everyone, take care. And I look forward to touching base with all of you.